turnout.
Wasn't it a great turnout? There was such great feel in the building.
Yeah, it was fun.
Here's our friend Chris. All right, can everybody hear me? All right, great. It is 5:30 and we have a full slate, so we will call to order this meeting of the Madison Plan Commission for Monday, February 16th, 2026. And tonight we have Planner Kevin Furco. There, said it right. Planner Kevin Furco helping us through the meeting tonight. Megan is going to take the night off. So would you start us off with the roll call?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Okay. Alder Glenn.
Here.
Alder Yeager.
Here.
Commissioner Basine.
Here.
Commissioner Heck.
Here.
Commissioner McCahill.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
Commissioner Solheim.
Here.
Commissioner Wisniewski.
Present.
Commissioner Chihak.
Here.
And Chair Ganam.
Here, thanks. We have, so Alderfield is excused tonight, and so Commissioner Wisniewski, you'll be a full voting member for our agenda tonight. Great. We will start, as usual, with information from technical facilitator Jessica.
Welcome to our virtual Planning Commission meeting. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members, if you are able, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Panelists, use raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. Members of the public who have registered to speak, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. The clerk will tell you when your time is up. After speaking, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it in the email listed in today's agenda. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you. We'll start with agenda item 1, which is our time for public comment regarding items not on the formal Plan Commission agenda. Planner Furco, do we have any registrants for item 1?
No, we don't have any registrants under that item at this time.
Okay, thank you. There was a comment that was up, so I haven't had a chance to take a look at that. Please do so. Next, we'll go to disclosures and recusals. Members of the Plan Commission should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Does anyone have any disclosures or recusals related to tonight's agenda? Right. Seeing none, we'll move to the minutes of our Monday, February 2nd, 2026 meeting. Does anyone have additions or corrections to the minutes? All right. Seeing none, could I ask for a motion in a second to approve the February 2nd minutes? Thanks, Alder Yeager. Thanks, Commissioner Solheim. Any discussion of the motion? Is there any objection to unanimous approval for the last meeting's minutes? Commissioner Wisniewski, thank you. Oh,
I just need to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
perfect. Thank you. With that abstention, any objection to unanimous approval? Great. So the motion to pass the minutes passes unanimously. A reminder for our schedule of meetings coming up. For March, we'll have meetings on Monday the 2nd and Monday the 16th. And then we'll have, for regular meetings in April, our meeting dates will be April 13th and 27th. And all of our regular meetings will continue to be 5:30 p.m. virtually on Monday, the day of the meeting. We also have a special meeting in person scheduled for Tuesday, March 31st, so the last day of March, at 5 p.m. in room 206 of the 215 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Madison Municipal Building. So we'll see everybody then. We will go into our agenda. We do have consent items on tonight's agenda. It's been the custom of the Plan Commission to remove from our agenda those items on which staff members believe an application has been sufficiently reviewed to support approval with all of the conditions placed upon it by the various city departments, and where the applicant accepts all of those conditions, and where there are no individuals who registered to speak in opposition to the item. We'll use a separate consent agenda for items requested by an applicant or staff to be referred to a future meeting, because referral doesn't require a public hearing. So tonight we have both. We have a couple of items for approval, which on our agenda are items 2 and 4. And then we have an item for referral to our April 27th meeting, and that is item 5. So of the items proposed for consent, is there any request for separation for any of these items? All right, seeing none, we'll start with the approval consent agenda, and I will read those items into the record. Item 2 is Legistar 91406, relating to 942 to 963 Rise Lane and 969 to 979 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Alder District 12. This is consideration of an alteration to approved conditional uses in the Commercial Corridor Transitional CCT District for a planned multi-use site containing a mixed-use building and multifamily dwellings to allow alternative screening along the boundary of the complex adjacent to residentially zoned properties. Item 4 is Legistar 91866. This relates to 121 North Butler Street in Alder District 2, and this is consideration of an alteration to an approved conditional use in the Downtown Residential 2 DR2 district for a multifamily dwelling with greater than 8 units to allow an alternative material palette for an approved 5-story 73-unit apartment building. So we will now open the public hearing and close the public hearing for the approval consent items and move to a vote. Is there a motion and a second for the approval consent agenda? Alder Uguer, thank you. Alder Glenn, thank you. You got it in there. Is there any objection to unanimous approval for the consent agenda? Seeing no hands, those 2 items will pass unanimously. We'll now take up the referral item, item 5. This is Legistar 91293, relating to 111 North Walter Street. This is consideration of a conditional use in the traditional residential varied 2 TRV2 district for a residential building complex containing 2 6-unit townhouse buildings and a shared storage building. And hearing for this tonight will be deferred to the referral date of April 27th. Planner Furco.
Fixture, I just wanted to get a clarification for the record for the last one, that was finding that the standards were met, and that was subject to the recommended conditions.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that is the I think that's generally our baked into our consent agenda for approval, that it's approved with. If anyone wants to correct that or felt differently, please speak now. All right. Thanks. So looking to item 5, which is the referral to the April 27th, 2026 Plan Commission meeting, could I look for a motion and a second on the referral item? Commissioner Heck, thank you. Commissioner Solheim, thank you. All right. So is there any objection to unanimous approval for the referral of item 5 to the April 27th meeting? And seeing none, we'll approve the referral unanimously. And that will take us to our regular agenda items, and we have one remaining item. It's a short agenda tonight. So our next item is item 3, which is Legistar 91509, relating to 437 South Yellowstone Drive in Alder District 19. And this is consideration of a conditional use in the Suburban Employment SE District for dwelling units in a mixed-use building, and consideration of a conditional use in the SE District for a building taller than 5 stories and 68 feet to allow construction of a 6-story mixed-use building with 650 square feet of commercial space and 130 dwelling units. We will start out with a presentation from planning staff, and we have Planner Colin Punt ready to go. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. So as the chair noted, the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional uses for the dwelling units in a mixed-use building, and then height in excess of the district maximum to construct this 6-story mixed-use building with 130 units and 650 square feet of commercial space at 437 South Yellowstone. Staff notes in the staff report, or I note in the staff report, that the Plan Commission needs to make considerations with regard to the conditional use in excess of, or conditional use request to exceed the district maximum height, which is directly referenced in Standard 11. The SE zoning district allows new mixed-use buildings at heights of up to 5 stories and 68 feet as permitted uses. This is obviously taller at 6 stories. While the inconsistency between the proposal and the plan recommendations as outlined in the plan or in the staff report does not necessarily preclude the standard from being found met. The staff report does note that the comprehensive plan and the West Area Plan recommend 6-story community mixed use development immediately across the street to the south, on the opposite side of Enterprise Lane, as well as west on South Yellowstone Drive. Further, the Plan Commission has only or has just recently, within the past couple years, approved a 6-story building on South Yellowstone Drive across the street and immediately to the north. Staff have recommended a condition with regards to the height, requiring further review if any changes to the design result in additional height if the conditional use is approved. And then if the Commission does find Standard 11 as well as all other applicable standards of approval to be met, staff recommends approving the conditional use. But I would note that it would be helpful for the Commission to identify its findings with regards to Standard 11 in its motion. After the public hearing, I am happy to answer any questions that the Commission might have.
Thanks, Colin. We have registrants for this item, so we'll open the public hearing. We'll try to stick to our 3-minute time limit for registrants, although I think we also have the development team who have requested to pool their time tonight, so we will we'll allow them to do that. And then as I will give a warning when you're close to the time, when you're a minute to 30 seconds from the time limit, just to help you manage your time. Planner Furclow, if you would call on the registrants wishing to speak.
Sure.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Our first group of speakers is the development team, and they've requested to combine their 3 minutes each, so for 9 minutes total. And so our first speakers will be the development team with Brian Woolsey, Thomas Denaway, and Ray White. And they will be followed by David Ortiz Whittingham, who will be our next speaker after that.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Right.
Can you hear me?
We can, Brian, thank you.
Great. I know we don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump into it. My name is Brian Woolsey, and I lead the development team at MSP. And it's my pleasure to introduce this project, which we're affectionately calling Odana Heights. When completed, it would represent our third project in the Mineral Point district area. So tonight, I'm going to just introduce the team so you have some familiarity with MSP as a company. I'm going to introduce Tom Denaway, my associate, who'll talk about the particulars of the project, and then our architect, Ray White from Dimension 4, will also be talking about some of the unique architectural features. Next slide, please. One of the things I think is important to point out about our firm and that makes us a bit unique is that we're a fully integrated development company, meaning that we do development, we also build our projects, and we manage them. I think this is unique and it provides a lot of cooperation throughout the entire process. And we are long-term owners. I'll get to that more in just a moment, but I think it's important to this committee. Next slide, please. These are the family of companies that make up MSP. And the last one on the page there is a brand you might recognize as Heritage Senior Living. We operate 15 senior housing campuses across the state of Wisconsin, where we're providing continuum of care to seniors, ranging from enhanced services, memory care, assisted, and independent living. The project that we're proposing tonight is none of those things. This is simply an age-restricted project, and it's an affordable project. But I mention this because we have a tremendous amount of work with the senior community, and it's those kind of experiences that are informing our decisions relative to this project, which would be parking, amenities, access, the south-facing courtyard, and things of that nature. Because as long-term owners of this project and investing, significantly in this community, we think these decisions are what makes it a fantastic project and will endure in the long run. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, I didn't want to bore you with a bunch of numbers, but I'll call your attention just to two numbers in the upper left-hand corner. 4,500 units developed since our inception, and 3,300 we still own and manage. So again, we're here for the long haul. We're not building to flip it. We're here to build because we believe in this community and serving the seniors on the west side of Madison. Next slide, please. Some of the folks that you'll be working with throughout this process includes our owner and founder, Milo Pinkerton, myself leading the development efforts, Ben Shear, who is in charge of construction and just wrapped up construction on Yellowstone and Grand Teton across the street, and Brian Martin, who leads our property management and asset management division. Next slide, please. Two of our development associates are listed here. Tom Denaway is going to be talking about a couple of the key attributes of this project. Next slide, please. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also introduce Ray White with Dimension 4 Architects. MSP and Dimension 4 over the last several decades has built over 2,000 of these units. So we have a very, very tight relationship and work very well together. Our project engineer is JSD, and landscape engineering services is going to be provided by RA Smith. And with that, I will turn it over to Tom. Next slide.
Thank you, Colin. Chair, members of the Planning Commission, Tom Denaway with MSP Real Estate. On the map here, you can see the location of our project as well as the proximity to our prior Yellowstone and Normandy developments. We like this location because we feel it allows our tenants within Yellowstone to age in place and stay within the neighborhood that they've grown accustomed to. And it's additionally important because our Normandy project has been occupied almost 100% continuously since its construction in 2019. Next slide, please. You can just, Colin, you just jump through the next couple pictures here. These are the Yellowstone, Grand Teton, and Normandy buildings. One more. So the building itself that we're talking about tonight is a 130-unit mixed-use building. It'll be a senior living affordable building. It'll be a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms, and it'll have 650 square feet of commercial space on the southwest corner. Next slide, please. The building, as mentioned, will be age and income restricted with a variety of income restrictions. You can see the breakout there. The project is proceeding through the WIDA tax credit process and has already been awarded funds from the City of Madison Affordable Housing Fund. Next slide, please. One of the things we wanted to hit on was the parking. We are developing this building with 173 stalls of total parking, which is 1.33 stalls per dwelling. That's larger than we would typically provide parking for our senior products, which are typically about 1 stall or less per unit. But we wanted to ensure we weren't impacting the neighborhood by having inadequate parking and forcing street parking. So we have extra stalls to make sure that we're not negatively impacting the neighborhood. Next slide, please. Here you can see the design considerations that we designed the building around. These are TOD and zoning requirements. They're obviously detailed much greater in staff, so I'll skip to the next slide. As it relates to the building design, we did make sure that the lowest opening of the building is sufficient to prevent and mitigate any potential flood risk. It's at a higher elevation than the one noted in the staff report. And also we would point out that we are ultimately reducing the amount of impervious surface on the site compared to the existing building, which should improve existing conditions in the neighborhood in relation to stormwater. Next slide, please. And finally, here you can see some of the recent development that has occurred in the Mineral Point neighborhood and the heights of some of the proposed and completed buildings that have been constructed in that area. We feel that our 6-story building is consistent with the development that has already occurred in the neighborhood and will not negatively impact the neighborhood by dwarfing it with a building that is greater than any of the other adjacent buildings. And with that, I'll turn it to Ray. Oh, sorry, one last thing, project timeline. We are currently at the Planning Commission here in February with the remaining tax credit process. The earliest this building would start construction would be in January of 2027. And now I'll turn it to Ray.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
We can. Thanks.
Okay, great. My name is Ray White. As mentioned, I'm an architect with Dimension 4, and we have been working with MSP for numerous years, as Brian had mentioned. Starting with a site plan of the project, we've got South Yellowstone to the left, which is to the west, Enterprise Lane to the south, and another residential property to the north. Our project is basically a C-shaped building surrounding a roof terrace on top of interior parking. It's a south-facing roof terrace, very intentionally to allow the residents to enjoy the sunshine and have somewhat of a sheltered space for outdoor activities accessed from the second floor of the building. At the northwest corner, we have a residential entry facing Yellowstone and a commercial entry on the south side facing South Yellowstone as well. We do have a little bit of a canopy entrance at the front of the building to allow for drop off for seniors, which is a nice feature for that population of the building, as well as some on-grade parking along the north side of the building, within the parking entrance on the north side into indoor parking, which is on kind of the ground level, and then ramps down to a basement level as well. Next, please.
Okay, Ray, you have a little bit less than a minute left just to help you plan.
Okay.
Thanks.
I will fly through as quickly as I can. So with the exterior of the building is a combination of brick masonry at the ground floor, siding, some wood tone siding as accents, as well as balconies for all of the units. Next, please. And this is the south west corner with the commercial facing the intersection of Yellowstone and Enterprise, with the view of the roof terrace to the right, which is also a landscape roof terrace, as well as some program spaces. Next, please. Kind of a blow up of the entry, the canopy entry with the lobby right off of this covered drop-off area. Next. The building materials, which is a combination of kind of a blended siding, as well as the brick and the wood tone. Next, please. Our basement plan with parking, bike parking. Next. Ground floor, we have our lobby, the commercial space, and units with on-grade patios comprising the bulk of the street facades of the building. Again, with parking, bike storage and storage units for the apartment units as well. Next. And our second floor plan, combination of 1 and 2 bedroom units. Also on this floor, we have the community room, which is sized for large gatherings of the building occupants. Again, south facing onto the landscape roof terrace, fitness room, and then the upper floors of the building next are a combination of units for the upper floors, again, each with their own balcony as well. And next, and I think that was it.
Yep.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Our next speaker is David Ortiz Whittingham, and that's our last registered speaker. We do have Carl Berry from MSP Real Estate listed as in support and available to answer questions.
Great. David, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Just a note to start off. Oh, sorry. Is our video visible?
It's not.
Oh, is that an option or is it just going to be?
It's not.
Okay, yeah, no. Oh, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't an issue on our end.
Nope.
This, just as a heads up as far as timing purposes, this just the bulk of it will be interpreted. My understanding is that we have 6 minutes then, correct?
Yeah, do you have an interpreter on your end of the call then, David?
I'll be doing interpretation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think that sounds right. So I'm certainly comfortable with that for tonight. So thank you for letting us know that. Yep.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to go over. That's what I saw on the website. So yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you for the committee's time. My name is David Ortiz Whittingham. I work at Worker Justice Wisconsin, Madison's Workers' Rights Center. In my job as the construction organizer, I work with construction workers across the city, educating them on their rights and supporting them with violations of their rights. So I'm here with one of our worker members, Fernando, and we'd like to speak on the conditional use for this property in particular due to concerns that we have about the developer who plans to construct the project. We're speaking neither in support nor in opposition of the conditional use. Rather, we'd like to make the members of the commission and the city council aware of the issues that we've seen with this particular developer. The developer for the proposed project at 437 South Yellowstone Drive, MSP Real Estate, recently constructed the Yellowstone Apartments just down the street at 426 South Yellowstone Drive. MSP's general contractor, MSP Construction, subcontracted the drywall work out to Grade A Construction, a Delafield-based company, who in turn subcontracted the labor to E&V's contractor group, a company from Illinois. A group of workers with unpaid wages from E&V came to Worker Justice in the spring of 2025, and after a march on the boss to involve MSP, the workers were able to recuperate the vast majority of their wages. So we're very grateful for MSP's cooperation at the time in resolving the dispute, but we do remain highly concerned about such violations occurring on their sites in the future, particularly given how prevalent wage theft and other abuses are in the construction industry. We ask that the City Council take into consideration these matters during the approval process for new projects, with the aim of ensuring that developers in Madison partner with responsible contractors and subcontractors. I'll now pass it to Fernando, where I'll be interpreting to share his experience.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Fernando.
Good afternoon. My name is Fernando.
Fue a mediados de marzo cuando llegué a trabajar en Yellowstone.
I arrived to work at Yellowstone in mid-March.
Unos amigos me invitaron a trabajar ahí. Ellos ya tenían 2 semanas trabajando. Pregunté si estaban solicitando personal y dijeron que sí, que me comunicara con Valentín, el subcontratista de eBay.
Some friends invited me to work there since they had been working for a couple of weeks. I asked if they were looking for workers, and they said yes, that I should talk to Valentin from the subcontractor EV.
Hablé con él y me dijo que me presentara al día siguiente. Pregunté el precio de cuánto me iba a pagar y me dijo que necesitaba mirarme trabajar.
I spoke with him and he told me to come to work the next day. I asked how much we'd be paid, and he told me he had to see me work first.
Al día siguiente me presenté al trabajo, empezamos a trabajar. Después del mediodía pregunté personalmente a Valentín cuánto me iba a pagar. Me dijo, luego te digo, terminamos el día, fue un turno de 10 horas.
The next day I came to work and we got started. After midday, I personally asked Valentin how much I was going to be paid. He said, I'll tell you later. We finished the day a 10-hour shift.
Y así el siguiente día trabajamos igual y hasta el tercer día nos dijo que iba a haber más trabajo porque se había terminado el material. Aún no había dado un precio tampoco y varios de mis compañeros también los paró por falta de material.
The next day we continued working the same, but on the third day we were told that we wouldn't be any more work because the material had run out. He still hadn't told me how much I was going to be paid. And many of my various coworkers also were laid off essentially for lack of material.
El acuerdo fue pagos semanales, pero cuando tocó pagarnos, él nos pidió que esperáramos porque supuestamente no había recibido el pago suyo. Seguía haciendo esto semana tras semana. También ofreció pagos parciales de 200 a unos.
The agreement was that we'd receive weekly payments, but when it came time to pay us, he asked us to keep waiting because supposedly he hadn't received his own payment. He kept doing this week after week. He also offered us partial payments of $200 to some of us.
Algunos de mis compañeros ya tenían 2 o 3 semanas trabajando con él y algunos ya no tenían fondos para cubrir sus gastos de comida o renta. A algunos de ellos tuve que prestarles dinero.
Some of my coworkers had now had 2 or even 3 weeks working with him, and some of them were now lacking money to cover their basic expenses like food or rent. I even had to pay. I had to loan money to some of those friends.
El problema en la industria es que en estos momentos contrata a cualquier contratista, pero a veces el subcontratista recibe su pago y desaparece sin pagar a los trabajadores. Y yo soy testigo porque he escuchado muchas historias de mucha gente que se ha quedado sin pagos.
The problem in the industry is that right now, these days, they'll often contract to any contractor, but sometimes that subcontractor will receive their pay but disappear without paying the workers. I'm a witness of this, and I've heard many stories from other folks that have been through the same experience of being left without pay.
Quiero que la ciudad vigile más a los promotores y a los constructoras para que contraten contratistas más responsables para la gente obrera.
I'd like for the city to monitor more of the developers and the contractors and so that they contract contractors more that are more responsible for the working class here in Madison.
David, if you could wrap up, you're just about out of time.
Yep, that was about it. Do you want to say?
Okay.
Pues gracias por su atención.
Yeah, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Fernando. Appreciate it. All right. Jennifer Furco. So that's those are our speakers in the public hearing. Are there any questions from the commission for any of our registrants? Kevin, did you have something to?
Yeah, I was going to ask the last speaker. If we could have the to speak, but if we could get a registration filled out for the speaker who he was providing the translation services to, I'd request that.
Thank you. Yeah, David, is that all right?
Would that be a matter of filling out the registration form on the website?
Yes, the form that you had filmed out, the online one, yes.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, that's on, yeah, I wasn't sure exactly how to fill it out as someone who was speaking but also interpreting, but that's good to know, so I can do that.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you. Yep. All right, Alder Yeager, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and I want to thank Mr. Ortiz Whittingham and his guest. This is an important issue that we care about deeply at the city. It was brought to my attention for this and another project by Alder Figueroa Cole. We've discussed it, and I reached out to the developers that were involved, and my question is actually to developer Mr. Dunaway. If you would kind of just go over our discussion about this and the actions that you took once MSP was aware of the problem with unpaid wages.
Yes, thank you, Alder Yeager and members of the Planning Commission and Mr. Ortiz Whittingham, the gentleman you were speaking on. It's great to have the opportunity to reflect on this and speak to this. As mentioned, I think in the overview, ultimately the issue here was a subcontractor of our drywall contractor that failed to act on their obligation to their employees. The second we were made aware of this by the employees and by the justice group, we took immediate action to work with both our grade A drywall subcontractor and the impacted employees to ensure that everyone was paid as quickly and as efficiently as possible in order to rectify the situation, because it's certainly not a circumstance we wish to find ourselves in. We hired a subcontractor that has, in grade A, that has over 44 years in business and is very well known. And unfortunately, it was ultimately a third party that was the entity that was at fault here. One of the things that's a benefit of us having our own contracting company or construction company is the ability to be proactive about situations like this as a developer going forward. And thanks to Alder Ugair bringing this to our attention, we've already put steps in to ensure that events like this don't happen in the future. And some of the proactive steps we're going to take on all of our future projects is really at the hands of our construction director, who's going to be on site to watch more closely to ensure that workers are satisfied and make sure that they are not showing any signs of dissatisfaction. To check with the employees on site, and particularly these subs and third-party subs, to ensure that they are being paid on time and in accordance with their own contracts with their employer. And then also to better track with our subcontractors who the second and third tier subcontractors are, so that we have record of who they are and can do our own investigation of them to ensure that situations like this don't happen again. So one of the benefits of being directly related with our construction company is the ability to be proactive and head off situations like this at the pass before they even occur in a manner that I think makes us unique. So with that, I think I can turn it over for any other questions.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Alder. Yep. Other questions from the commission for any of the registrants? So seeing no further questions, we'll. Thanks, Commissioner McCahill, just in time.
Thanks. Question for the development team. You talked a little bit about the parking that you're providing and how you're exceeding what you would normally provide. And since there's no parking required in the TOD zone, far exceeding what the city would be asking for, just wondering if you could speak to how you made that decision, if there was conversations with staff or neighbors about doing that. I think generally the city would be looking for less parking, especially in a TOD area.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, it was mostly an internal conversation about wanting to ensure that we weren't impacting the neighborhood any further with the development of a second building of this size in the neighborhood, and ensuring that we have adequate parking for this development and not pushing any overflow parking out into the neighborhood. So it wasn't necessarily at the direction of any staff, but it was an internal discussion to make sure that we were adequately parking for this building, knowing that with the other building having already been constructed in there and wanting to make sure that we weren't causing any additional overflow onto the street.
Okay, thanks. Maybe one follow-up. It looked like in the TDM plan that you also indicated that you will be unbundling the cost of parking for employees and charging residents separately for that parking. Given all that, do you really want all that parking, or would you rather provide less?
Thank you. It is an excellent question. The unbundling really pertains to a tax credit issue. With the way that tax credits are awarded, it has to do with the eligible basis of the construction cost of the project. And if we are charging separately for the parking, the portion applicable to the parking doesn't become part of the eligible basis. But also, if we were including parking as part of the rent, it would have to come in within the overall rent limits that are in place as part of tax credit projects. So it's easier and more efficient for tax credit projects to unbundle the parking and charge it separately than it is for it to be part of it, because if it's all lumped together, you then have a reduced revenue capacity of the project, because the parking would have to come out of the max rent being paid by the tenant.
Okay. I guess coming back to the question is, would you rather build less?
I think we're happy with the amount of parking that we have planned and programmed for the building, with the goal of not impacting the neighborhood.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Commissioner Heck.
Just a quick follow-up question in the same area. I guess I don't quite understand either. And are you feeling like the impact of your completed and occupied building has been negative on the neighborhood? Is the street overflowing with vehicles that are not parked in the building?
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a minute.
Oh, sorry. Are you feeling like the building that is completed is negatively impacting the neighborhood with a lot of people, a lot of overflow in street parking stalls?
No, we don't, and particularly because the building is not full at the moment. But we just wanted to be responsive of knowing we were putting another building within that neighborhood and ensuring that that second building wasn't going to have a knock-on effect and lead to more parking on the street.
Okay, thanks. That was my question.
Other questions for registrants? Commissioner Bazine.
I had a question for the planning team and was curious if you could speak to any neighborhood input you may have received or what the neighborhood outreach looked like.
Chair, do you want me to speak to that now, or do we want to wait until after the?
Oh no, that was for the development team. Colin,
okay.
Yeah. Anjali, is that correct? You were.
Yes, but if it's more appropriate for Colin to answer, I'm also happy to save that for staff.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Thomas or others on the team, do you guys have a response to that question?
No, I would defer to staff and the comments that they've received from the public as part of the public hearing process. From a neighborhood meeting standpoint, the need for a neighborhood meeting was actually waived due to lack of attendance at prior neighborhood meetings that we had held for our 2 prior developments within the neighborhood.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. One last call for questions for registrants. And seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask the same question if there are questions for staff from the commissioners. Alder Yeager, thank you.
I was just slow on the uptake. I wanted to make a comment about concerns about parking. Just check I checked. Yeah, go ahead.
Should I reopen the public hearing then? Is there any objection? I don't know if you need to engage with the registrants or.
I do not. I'm just I'm going to report that I checked my records for this particular project, and I see that I have 2 emails from area residents expressing a concern that there might be overflow traffic, but no specific examples that it was happening on the other project.
Thank you. All right, questions from the commission for staff. Commissioner Wisniewski, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Colin, do you know how wide the streets are there? I'm on Google Maps right now, and I can't. It seems fairly wide, and I don't see any no parking signs in my Street View stuff. But do you know how wide that street is?
I would have to check, which I can do quickly. But if you have another question, I would buy a minute that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, as it goes back to this and the concern over street parking, I mean, the street seems pretty wide enough. In the Google Maps photos, there are no cars parked on the street right now, which doesn't necessarily show to me an over parking situation, as well as all the parking lots in that area. So I am just, again, leaning more towards in a TOD district, not necessarily adding more parking and with the goal of utilizing less.
Yeah. So, Colin or Kevin, maybe this, if I can interject a second, is there, so the TOD overlay has no minimum parking requirement. It sounds like I'm hearing concerns that there's too much surface parking in this development plan. Are there limits that the Plan Commission needs to consider and enforce there, or are these just more like comments that of preference and policy direction that we should be sharing at this meeting?
So there is a maximum parking allowed in TOD, and that is 1.5 spaces per unit. So as the applicant team noted, they are below the TOD maximum. So it is zoning compliant. It does not require any Plan Commission action to approve that much parking. If this is something that the Plan Commission, does think needs to change, I certainly think the Commission could discuss a change to those maximums. But this proposal meets the requirements of the zoning code for parking.
Thanks. Alder Yeager.
Thank you, Chair. There's a question for Planner Punt. I took a moment to look back at the Odana area plan and the West area plan, and I know I'm aiming for a discussion here on condition 11, or standard 11 rather. This MR land use, it's kind of a sliver that's looking at those. It's surrounded by RMU and NMU and even some HR. So all kinds of areas that permit a higher a sixth floor or more. Do we have any insight into why, as we developed those plans, we left this sliver of MR in there at 5 stories?
Yeah, I think I was on the team that did the West area plan, and there was a lot of discussion surrounding that. I think there was the understanding that a lot of this area was going to transition towards either residential or mixed use development. It's something that allows additional residential. A lot of the more dense development and the higher allowable heights, so the things that are allowed in regional mixed use, were pushed up toward Mineral Point Road, where there's more capacity, and then also the bus rapid transit stations there. Also, more of the community mixed use was located where we continued to show employment and commercial along the Beltline and Odana Road. And so this area is kind of in the middle, pushed up against Oakwood, which is that high residential area that you noted. So it's adjacent to Oakwood. It's also adjacent to the other retirement center just immediately to the north, which really fits kind of in that medium residential box. So that was kind of the reason why this small area remained medium residential, because it was further from Odana and further from Mineral Point Road, where more of the commercial uses that would fall into the mixed use areas were expected.
Thank you. And as you pointed out in the staff report in that discussion of Standard 11, the greater height in these surrounding areas could be a contextual reason for becoming comfortable that granting this conditional use at 6 floors met the standard. Correct.
Yes, I think the Plan Commission has made similar findings in the past, most recently with the proposal on Sherman Avenue. So I think it is something that the Plan Commission is able to consider.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Alder. Commissioner Bazin.
I had a question in regard to, there was public comment submitted where a small business owner was concerned about the impact on her business from parking, noise, etc. And I'm wondering if staff has seen negative impact on small businesses from construction in the past, and if so, if there were any ways to mitigate that.
Yeah, I think there are certainly impacts that accompany construction projects. I don't think there's any way to deny that. With this location on the corner, and it's a pretty large flat site, I believe that they will be able to accommodate most of their staging and laydown within the site, especially with the surface parking lot that they are planning. It's not a full utilization of that site. I have not seen construction plans, where they're going to put their crane and such. But if they are requesting closure of lanes on the street, they have to go through the traffic engineering division. The traffic engineering division reviews those lane closure plans and controls that. I think one of the other potential issues with construction is just that construction workers need to get there usually with trucks, or if they are bringing a work truck there. So there are parking impacts from the construction. I myself don't know what the solution for that is, but I think in many cases that I'm aware of, neighboring residents or businesses communicate those concerns to their area alderperson, Alder Ugair in this case, who act as the point person for dealing with enforcement and traffic control in that case.
Other questions for staff? I do wonder if we're ready to consider a motion on this one. Alder Ugair?
I will attempt a motion here. I'll move that the Plan Commission finds that the applicable standards of approval for conditional uses are met with particular reference to the contextual basis of the surrounding areas for allowing the 6th floor under Standard 11, and that we approve the requested conditional use for the proposed mixed-use building, subject to the recommendations of conditions by the reviewing agencies.
Thank you. Alder Glenn, is that a second? Thank you. Alder Ugair, would you like to provide any more comment around your motion?
I'm just going to comment. Some days I think I'm sort of looking for immediate gratification. I spent some time this morning, as I frequently do, with one of our senior citizens in District 19, who was bemoaning the shortage of affordable senior housing. And I see this as, I've knocked on doors during our campaign or going and meeting people, that there are clearly people that are locked into their current single family home. It's too big for them. They're having trouble maintaining it and so forth, and they're looking for an affordable alternative. And I think particularly on the west side, there's an opportunity to do that with this project. hope that it'll have your support. Thank you.
Thanks, Alderman Gary. Any other discussion on the pending motion? We can, Commissioner Heck, thank you.
Thanks. I just wanted to briefly mention the parking discussion, and it seems that given the TOD requirements, they're certainly within their right to propose what they're proposing. But I would encourage them to consider even a very slight reduction. Adding one more housing unit, I think, would be very valuable if you could do that instead of some number of parking stalls. I understand you're late in the process, but you need to have submitted to WIDA, so maybe it's impossible, but I think it's worth considering if you can. Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioner. Other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a vote, and we'll start with, is there objection to unanimous approval for this item? All right. Seeing none, we'll record the item as passed unanimously. Thank you. Thanks for the good discussion and all the comments. That completes our public hearing or new business section. We have time for member announcements, communications, and business items. Does anyone have any of those that they'd like to share? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the secretary's report. And Kevin, if you have the floor.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. And good evening once again. I just highlight a few things. This is all information that is on the agenda. So if you want to get the full report, please see the items listed under Secretary's report on your agenda. Quick report on what happened at last week's council meeting. You'll recall at your last Plan Commission meeting, there was a rezoning on Tennyson Lane, and that was approved by the Common Council. The Common Council also approved a couple of certified survey maps that the Plan Commission previously reviewed, including the one on Sherman Avenue that was tied to the redevelopment that the Plan Commission recently approved, and then another on Seminole Highway that the Plan Commission reviewed. So both certified survey maps were approved at the last Common Council meeting. And then just highlighting the upcoming matters that you'll be seeing as we know them today. I just note a couple of items on March 2nd, our next meeting. We'll note that there are some demolition requests or some requests that involve referrals of demolition. You'll recall when the demolition ordinance changed about a year ago, you were seeing only demolitions in which the Landmarks Commission found that there was historic value, and there are two such cases next time. The 400 block of West Gilman, which is tied to a residential redevelopment. Their demolitions that the Plan Commission will also be asked to look at, along with a certified survey map, conditional use, and a rezoning for one of the subject properties. And there is also a residential development on Odana Road and Medical Circle, a two-building request where the Landmarks Commission has also advised that there's historic value for one of the buildings. So you will be seeing the conditional use requests as well as demolition requests for that. Also noting among the items you have on your agenda scheduled for next week, you have an outdoor request to add outdoor amplified sound for a tasting room. This is on East Washington Avenue for a site that the Plan Commission placed on file without prejudice a year ago. So there's a new application that you'll be seeing or scheduled to see at your March 2nd meeting, along with some other residential development. So please take a look at that for the list of all the items that we know for your March 2nd item. And then on March 16th, we have a couple items currently in the queue. There is a small adjustment to an existing plat out on Sugar Maple and Hazy Sky Parkway that you'll be seeing, as well as a home occupation on Willard Avenue. So that is highlighted. That again, please see the agenda for the full list, and the agenda will be posted shortly before your next meeting in a couple of weeks.
Thanks. Any questions for Kevin? All right. Seeing none, I would look for a motion and a second to adjourn. Commissioner Solheim, thank you. Commissioner Heck, thank you. Any objection to unanimous approval? Seeing none, we'll stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Everybody, good night.
Thanks.